A high-performance race team needs a high-performance technology partner.
At Red Bull Ampol Racing, we rely on HP computers to power our on-track winning performance.
The Supercars Championship ignites at Bathurst.
The HP product range keeps us on top from design to drive. Red Bull Ampol Racing, powered by HP, and available right now at Harvey Norman.
Make more of the things you want possible with Cash Converters. Life made possible.
Hi, it's these, thanks.
Good choice. That'd be $52.99, thanks.
Thanks.
Repco, it starts with the parts.
The Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Repco. It starts with the parts. We had a lot of fun last week and we're back to do it again. It's night 2 of 6. This is SwiftX qualifying. It's the Cash Converters Supercars E-Series. Got Jonathan Simon alongside me. We're in Melbourne's Dockland Studios, ready for a big night of racing on iRacing. We've got the pros and the All-Stars. What are we looking forward to tonight, Jonathan?
Will we see repeat pole sitters? We know Dane Warren and Brody Kostecki have been quick, but can they do it again for the SwiftX prize money and some iRacing credits while they're at it too?
Yeah, the pros are going to be up first, then followed by the All-Stars. We've got 2 brand new circuits to the Supercars E-Series, both American hotspots. We've got Long Beach, the street circuit in California. That's where the pros are going to go racing tonight. And then we're off to Pocono, which is not your typical speedway.
And we do it all at the click of a button, from the west coast of America to the east coast. That's the beauty of virtual racing. And here are all your drivers about to take part for those prizes in qualifying and essentially grid position around Long Beach, particularly up first, which is going to be critical. A street circuit, difficult to pass.
Something new in there as well. You can actually see Brad Shepard's view. So I'm going over to the right-hand side on that one. He had the foot cam, he had the steering wheel cam, he had every angle covered as we get set to go racing tonight. So 2 tracks to watch out for, including the lovely Pocono Speedway. We're going to be up there soon. That'll be, of course, for the All-Stars, and that's what it looks like. And Long Beach will be first up. And this guy going for back-to-back SwiftX Pole Awards. Can he get the job done and start off the front row when we get back to Long Beach for the first of their races tonight? So 1 race for the pros and then 1 race for the All-Stars. That's what I was talking about earlier. See the Corey Shepard foot cam on the right-hand side. That's a pretty cool setup.
Wow.
I like this.
Look at that. He's got the racing boots, got some jeans on, which is a little bit different. But you can see what he's using there is a direct drive wheel. That is very high-tech, expensive, and it gives you the best feel. And for him, who qualified on the front row last week as a 16-year-old as well, the youngest driver in the E-Series, a stellar effort. It's unfortunate he had that pit entry penalty that cost him so much time and dropped him outside the top 20.
Yeah, that was desperately unlucky. So last week did such a good job in SwiftX qualifying and unfortunately couldn't continue through that form in the race, picking up that pit lane penalty. There is Madison Down in the Repco 24/7 entry, Andrew Gilliam, and he's had a great week lately. So Matt Stone Racing, who's his E-Series team, gave him this opportunity to turn reality to real life. And how cool to see this guy get a run at Matt Stone Racing's Test Day at Queensland Raceway.
And I had a chat to him about it this morning. He took it very seriously. They analysed data, braking points. He even went in for a demonstration lap with somebody else driving the car and managed to see all the braking points. He was very competitive into it. Love that they're running the 35. Same car he'll run here tonight. Brilliant stuff by Andrew Gilliam. First time ever in a real-life race car for the young man.
I love that. So well done to the crew at Matt Stone Racing for giving a young guy a chance to go from iRacing to the real deal. What a great opportunity that is. We've also seen Brad Jones do that with a couple of their drivers, including Jackson Suzlin Harlow and also Jake Burton, who's had, I think, 2 test days now. I want to see Walkinshaw put this guy in a car. I think he's certainly earned it off the back of last year's championship.
Now, remember, when we brought Ryan Walkinshaw into the studio, he said he was more than happy to. Now, the good news is you might have to grab his brother as well, who finished second last week.
Yeah.
They're in the same room. All he has to do is look over the shoulder, learn as much as he can from the data that Dane Warren has been given to him. And he is the man to beat in qualifying later today. Emily Jones is somebody who was drafted #1 overall from the draft in her 3rd season in the E-Series. One of 4 drivers to complete every single lap in E-Series history. She's been very consistent.
Yeah, Emily, one of the more popular gamers that we have running in the series, has a huge following on Twitch, has spent a lot of time working her craft on GT Sport, where she's competed internationally and has been signed by manufacturers there in the past. Recently signed for McLaren Shadow as well, which is really cool. So that is the McLaren Formula One team, and she's a part of that. Yep,
the esports version of the team, McLaren Shadow, which is a brilliant opportunity for her. And she's also still continuing her efforts on the Australian side with the Trans-Tasman sim racing team, who compete in supercars racing. That includes Madison Down, Josh Muggleton, our BP Ultimate Safety Car driver, and many more. Here we go. Just under 6 minutes remaining in qualifying. You're going to see drivers do that a lot through that chicane. Unfortunately, that's allowed. There's nothing the stewards can do. Well, the stewards can do something, but the automated stewards in iRacing allow the drivers to cut the curb there. Dane Warren is the man to beat. 2 pole positions on the trot, going back to last year, looking for his 3rd.
What a cool circuit this is. Long Beach, California. If you're an IndyCar fan, this will be no new sight for you, but something definitely different for our supercars fans, having never seen a fully fledged supercar race here, of course. We've seen guys like Will Power and Penske, names that have been synonymous here, but it was Formula One at one point as well in the 70s before becoming a famous IndyCar race.
Let's not forget Kiwi Scott Dixon, who also took victory here as well. Alan Jones picked up a Formula One victory at this very circuit, although looked very different back in the day, about 40 years ago. So if you are a fan of Formula One and you are about 60 years old, welcome to the coverage. This circuit might also look familiar to you as well.
Madison Down in the Repco 24/7 racing entry. Not too many people doing virtual reality with a virtual reality headset on. It can be a bit of a spin out the first time you try VR if you've never done it before. It can really shake you about a little bit, and if you're unused to especially if you don't add the movement to it as well, then it can make you feel a little bit queasy as well. So some people are more suited to it. Get a little bit of motion sickness if you've never tried it before. He is building up to a hot lap. Here's the famous turn 11 hairpin. Get a nice wide entry here because you can actually build 1 or 2 extra kilometers per hour by the time you hit the start line for your hot lap.
And a few drivers were talking before the session in the WhatsApp group, trying to come up with a gentleman's or women's agreement as well, in terms of actually not undercutting someone when you go for that long run in qualifying, because it can impede them when you're trying to set up the run into turn 1. There's Dane Warren whacking the wall. Will that delete his lap time? I'm pretty sure it will, but he's continuing on regardless here with under 4 minutes remaining. So he set a 1:19.628. Track temperature, 55 degrees Celsius out there. That is very hot, very sticky, very slippery.
And that'll lead to huge amounts of tire degradation when we get into the race later. So there is that really tight turn 11. And let's just check out that moment again. Oh, that was close. If you do touch the walls here, you will lose your lap time. You can hear it at the middle of the corner, maybe just getting the right side. So the cash converters replay, and that's what's going to bring about the restart.
Oh, now will he receive a penalty for that?
It was right in the front of Corey Shepherd. I hope for his sake Corey was not on a lap there.
And look at Jared Filsell in 2nd position. Been talking to him all week about his preparation, and he has put a lot of time and effort into this circuit. Madison Down as well has also improved in comparison to the Red Bull Ring. What you'll find, Chad, in sim racing is that a lot of the young guns will do well in round 1 when they put in an overload of practice, but the experienced ones know not to burn out, and they know that over the course of time it's about a whole season, and that's why you're seeing the likes of Corey Shepherd and Ethan Warren down the order so far in qualifying.
Jordan Caruso did a really good job in SwiftX qualifying last week and was one of the faster guys in the early part of that race. He's had a livery change. Life Changer has come on board. Now, Life Changer is the official charity partner for the Repco Bathurst 1000 this year. And a great opportunity to get them some exposure tonight, Jonathan.
Yep, certainly. They identify and develop inspiring mentors within communities and deliver holistic self-development workshops for teens, and they create and sustain safe and resilient communities. Great to have Repco and Life Changer on board with Jordan Caruso's Mustang here as he begins another lap. He's another driver who caught that pit entry penalty, currently in 5th on the timing and scoring screen. And I don't think he's going to suffer with that issue here today due to the nature of this pit entry. How about Jackson Suzlin-Harlow, who's promoted himself up into second? I told you he was ever improved, and he's looking improved here at Long Beach as well.
So Phil Sell, who we're looking at right now in the Boost Mobile colours, knocked off the front row and back down to fourth as Madison Down has slipped in there as well. So Warren, Suzlin-Harlow down, Phil Sell, Caruso the top 5, and Phil Sell about to start another lap. Jake Burton tagged in behind him. And let's see what Erebus can do with the Boost Mobile colours. 2-car operation that they've got in the pro ranks, and then 1 driver in the All-Stars. That'll be Brody Kostecki, who picked up the SwiftX Polo Award last week. Need to be careful not to let the car drift too far to the right down here on the approach to turn 1. That is exceeding the track limits if you go over the blend line. Through this really strange chicane, which is actually a roundabout, past the big fountain, the big statue. Get the curbs on the inside here, the jumping dolphin.
Yeah, the jumping dolphins over there. And now we head through, in my opinion, the toughest corner on the circuit. We've said you're allowed to do that. High five the wall on the exit as well. And now we'll pick up the throttle onto turn 6. Now, 1 motion on the steering wheel. Have a look at his wheel. Nice and easy. Pick up the throttle with the right foot on the exit. Now into the middle sector. This next right-hander you treat a little differently. Chuck it into here. Be aggressive. Right up close to the wall. Now a long back straight to take in and take a little break here. Breath of fresh air for you. 30 seconds remaining. This will be his last run because the tyres do not last long around Long Beach.
Second gear, last sector. Quickest time so far is a 1:19.6. Phil Sell's best, a 1:19.7 so far. Back to first gear for the slow hairpin. Need a good exit here. Feed the power down. What's the time for Phil Sell? Can he get himself back on the front row? Not quite. Stays a 10th off it.
No,
yes,
he does.
Gets it. So timing updates at 25 thousandths of a second, separating Dane Warren from Jared Phil Sell. He just about snuck that SwiftX Pole Award, but couldn't quite wrestle it out of the hands of Dane Warren.
And Andrew Gilliam with that Supercars experience now, or Super 3 experience, up into 6th. Jake Burton right behind. Now, who's that? Is that the 55? That doesn't look like a livery I'd notice. That's Ethan Warren, I think.
Yeah, Ethan Warren's loaded up the wrong livery for this one. There's his brother Dane. Looks like the job is done as the checkered flag flies. He's going to go back-to-back SwiftX Pole Awards and has done it nicely today. Corey Shepherd's still in a lap. Now he's 12th at the moment. Remember, front row start at the Red Bull Ring. So has more speed than this. A 1:19.9, his best so far. Dane Warren actually got down to a 1:19.50 in the end as well. So
improved. Yep.
Yeah, improved it after the checkered flag. Can Shepherd jump up here? Pioneer DJ Racing. His teammate in the All-Stars. No, he's not going to finish this lap off as he dives back into the pits.
Pit entry practice, why not?
Yep, take that chance to get it while you can. And similar for Simon Feigl, who dives into pit lane, and that looks to be that. Dane Warren has gone and scored himself another SwiftX Pole Award, and he's going to take $200 worth of Bitcoin to go with it. Just adding to the tally, if you don't mind. So $400 worth of Bitcoin for the year so far. And when we get towards the end of the year, if you consider that he's also fighting for the better part of $10,000 in terms of prize money, it might just be a good year for Dane Warren. Nicely done. And we are past the checkered flag, and he has picked up our SwiftX Pole Award. There it is, by a 10th of a second. That's the view looking down on the famous roundabout. Warren, Phil Sell, Jackson Suzlin-Harlow. Another good qualifying performance for the Brad Jones Racing driver. So well done to Jackson. Further down, Madison Down, ex-BJR driver inside the top 5. Corey Shepherd a little bit further down the order than we would have expected. Ditto that Forza El Nabi. Job Stewart, young teenager for Erebus, inside top 15 spots. Ethan Griff-Gult, Emily Jones and Wayne Burke, the drivers who couldn't quite get the lap they wanted. 1 second separating the entire 23-car field. That is nice and close, but it is this guy. Once again, SwiftX Pole Award for Dane Warren, and doubling up the Bitcoin prize money that he's picked up so far, thanks to SwiftX. He's one of Australia's fastest growing cryptocurrency exchanges with over 340,000 users here in Australia. And he got everything out of that lap, Jonathan.
He certainly did. I don't actually think he whacked the wall there. It might have been a coincidence. As he was up close to the wall, somebody else might have hit it in the background. Well done to Dane Warren, his 3rd career pole.
He's got the job done. Well done to Walkinshaw and Andretti United. Can they back it up with the All-Stars? We're heading to Pocono after this.
The Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Bosch Tools and Accessories.
Hi, just these, thanks. Good choice. That'll be $52.99, thanks. Thanks.
Repco, it starts with the parts.
Make more of the things you want possible with Cash Converters. Life made possible.
The Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Bosch Tools and Accessories.
Time for something a little bit different on the Cash Converters Supercars All-Stars E-Series as we switch it back to the stars of the Repco Supercars Championship. They're up next at Pocono, which is a very different style NASCAR track. It is a speedway, yes, as we get set for SwiftX qualifying, but it's not your typical oval. This is a real triangle-style racetrack with 3 completely different corners, and you have to approach every single lap around here with a very switched-on approach, and finding the right balance around here is very difficult as we lead out the All-Stars to qualifying.
It's very fascinating because it sort of acts like a road course despite the fact that it's technically an oval. Here's something we're going to get accustomed to in qualifying for our All-Stars, a lot of drafting. We've got our big names from Supercars returning, Super 2 drivers are returning. We've got a driver from Porsche Carrera Cup, like we said. We've got a wild card this week as well, and we've got a few driver changes to go through, all coming up shortly in the next 7.5 minutes of SwiftX qualifying.
So how cool, you mentioned the wild card, to have Greg Murphy joining the fun tonight all the way over in New Zealand. We've got Chaz Mostert back again, looking very clean cut as he gets set for a big night in the Mobile One Appliances online entry. Now, he's got a chance to win himself the $200 worth of Bitcoin in this session. It's $140 US worth of iRacing credit that has just been snapped up by the Walkinshaw Andretti United teammate of Dane Warren. So those are the prizes thanks to SwiftX. $140 US worth of iRacing credit goes a long way in this game. It's about $200 worth of Australian.
Yeah, I think that's the conversion rate.
Roughly. Will Davison back tonight as well. Cool to have former Bathurst champion, a man who was second in the points over 10 years ago in the series, back tonight filling in for Anton De Pasquale.
Just celebrated his 39th birthday the other day, so happy birthday to Will. That's rookie age, I think. He's at co-driver age. Still got a full-time seat. Good on him.
How good's that? We actually have a birthday in the E-Series tonight. Blake Purdy,
yes,
17 years of age tonight. Falls in Al-Nabi, will be 25 tomorrow. There's our series leader, Richie Stanaway. How cool to see Richie back. Team Tamaki Kimoto is back on board now with a 2-car operation with Falls in Al-Nabi.
Your Toreo's improving, Chad. I like that.
Oh, no, contact. We're just talking about Will Davison coming back for the night, and he has been annihilated in turn 1.
Bit of a smile on Richie's face. Great to crack the poker face.
It's a good comment you make, because we didn't get much of a rise out of him last week, even when he won the race. There's a quick geeze at Matt Payne, who sits second in the points in car 3. Now, what happened here in turn 1?
Oh, no, you know what? I reckon that wasn't deliberate. No, I'm joking. That was, of course, a good bit of banter between those two.
Here's the reaction. Cash Converters replay. And Will Davison going for a bit of a ride down there at turn 1.
I'd fathom the stewards might have a look at that, and whatever the heck has happened to the driver in the background there, couldn't quite catch the car. So currently at the moment, Brody Kostecki holds provisional pole, as Jack LeBrock is also having a giggle at a few things. Good on Matt Payne, by the way. You mentioned him in the Blanchard Racing Team Cool Drive Mustang. So he's actually a Kiwi, 18 years old, from New Zealand, champion of the Toyota Racing Series as well. Very good driver for the future.
Here comes the Truck Assist Mustang. We're used to seeing Mustangs run around here, but that's in NASCAR Cup trim. And when you see them pull over hard left like this, that means they're going to do a quick little reset back to the pits. Chaz Mostert trying to snare up a tiny little bit of slipstream from these guys on the way past.
That is, in my opinion, when you see a driver do that, I am actually impressed. That's a driver determined to make up as much lap time as possible. I don't know if that gained him any time at all, but it was worth the effort.
Well, I thought these guys were diving into the pits, but I think they're just trying to find a spot in the queue, because they didn't do a hard reset.
Maybe.
If they're playing slipstream games, it's a funny way of doing it. Here's Tom Randall, yet to get a lap in, driving from his dream simulation studio out in Dandenong South, which is in Melbourne's eastern suburbs. He's sitting in behind Matt McLean, so a couple of Super 2 guys. Sammy Brabham's got the full Motum simulator going on. The only driver in the field that I can think of that has the full movement simulator as well in the field, apart from Tom Randall, but I'm not sure if Randall's got the movement switched on tonight.
Yeah, I think Tom does like to switch it off just for a bit of extra lap time. He's found himself that he can gain. The good news with Sam Brabham is he is running his grandfather's Brabham F1 livery. Here it is. Now, if you're wondering what the relation is to Repco with that, obviously Repco do own the original Brabham BT19. It's on display at the Australian National Sports Museum over at the MCG.
The BT19's actually lived in the Repco offices in Rowville for a while as well. I've seen that car there a number of times. It made the journey to Bathurst for the Repco Mount Panorama 500. It lived in the Hino hub there for the weekend. Mark Larkin was drooling over it. We had to kick him off. Sam actually got to drive the car around Mount Panorama that weekend. The Repco Brabham was the partnership back in the day, which helped Sir Jack, I should say, get to Formula One glory at not just Monaco, but on the World Championship scene as well. And how cool to have his grandson running in the field. We had Matty Brabham part of the supercars scene as well. So where's Sammy Brabham going to wind up here?
Well, he's in 18th and well off the pace. So I don't know if I didn't improve that lap time, did Sam Brabham. The motion must be slowing him down. He might need to take some tips from Thomas Randall. Now, Brody Kostecki, fascinating, Chad, we found this, is that despite him being so dominant and so quick in that Erebus Boost Mobile Racing Commodore, he's never taken a race win in the E-Series. He has crossed the line in first place over at Bathurst last year. But as he told Berto, he was in the bin because he did award him with a penalty.
Have a look at this feisty battle pack. And now everyone's trying to find their own spot in the queue here to get a slipstream, including Macaulay Jones in the Coca-Cola car.
That'll be a can of crushed Coke.
Whoa, he's just got a hell of a run onto this long front straight. He's tucked in behind Tony D'Alberto. And Macca used that lap perfectly, goes to third.
Wow.
So his dad was pretty handy at the Thunderdome back in the day. He's worked that quite nicely as Matt Charter slides back up in front of him. Cam Waters has gone full NASCAR spec tonight. He's got the toothpick hanging out of the mouth. That's good. Dick Trickle, famous NASCAR driver, used to light up his
there
city
he is.
during the cautions back in the day. How good's this?
Oh, man.
We're not quite in the deep south tonight. It's very Peaky Blinders having the toothpick in the mouth as well, I might add.
It actually gains you a 10th of lap time. Rumours suspect.
Not sure if he's tuning on the run down here. Macaulay Jones fences someone in the background. Todd Hazelwood's gone for the black duck seat covers livery tonight. Good to see that silver look come back. The cars are noticeably quicker in a pack, aren't they?
Yeah,
slipstream effect is huge.
Yeah, definitely. Up ahead as well in the Shannon's Mustang is Tyler Everingham, who steps in for Matt Charter this week. There is Todd Hazelwood, currently
Airborne, I think is the word.
It didn't look like it from the zoom camera.
For a guy who was just 7 foot in the air, he was pretty calm about that.
You know, these race car drivers are built different.
Now he's just got enough time to get back in, get out and go again. But it will be tight, and I'm not sure if he'll be able to find a slipstream buddy in doing so. Who got him? Jack LeBrock got him. Those two had some pretty fierce battles in Super 2 back in the day. Nothing quite like that.
Not sure what he was thinking of slowing on the racing line, but we will we'll let that one go for qualifying.
Jaden Ojeda.
The Juice.
The Juice, currently sitting 11th in the session at the moment. Brody Kostecki still on top. 2/10 clear of Richie Stanaway. Macaulay Jones in third.
Don't forget, Jaden Ojeda, who made that wildcard appearance last year in the All-Stars E-Series, made the shootout at Spa and qualified 6th. Now, he had a torrid race, torrid 3 races, but it was a stellar effort from him. And now he represents SwiftX Racing for this All-Stars E-Series. Might pick up another slipstream here. There's only 8 seconds remaining. Checkered flag out soon. Kostecki and Stanaway on the front row for the moment.
The desperation to find a slipstream buddy is palpable, and that contact will actually delete this lap time. So this lap's gone, and the checkered flag will beat him, so he will stay in the mid-pack. That was unlucky.
I would hunt everyone down now and just make a quick little tap to delete their lap time as well.
Yeah, just get on their bumper and just give them a little tap, and there goes their lap time. Not sure if it's too generally as Scott Pye finds the reverse entry into pit lane. And that is SwiftX qualifying complete. There'll still be 1 or 2 drivers on a lap as the checkered flag just came out. Can anyone catch Brody Kostecki, the only driver in the field with genuine oval experience? Did run in the K&N Pro Series, which is the feeder series to the NASCAR trucks. And 1 or 2 drivers in pit entry, but they're not going to make it around. There is Greg Murphy, car 51, got the famous 51 back. Battle of Jack's Ridge sponsorship. Macaulay Jones putting on a show in front of him in pit lane. He's just going to weave around the outside of the Coke Commodore and park it up. That's one way to put it in the pit box. Barney the flagman's putting his shoulder out, waving the checkers, and that's how it's wound out. SwiftX qualifying. Brody Kostecki. We had Walkinshaw and Andretti United back up their pole in the pros, and now Erebus have gone 2 from 2, and Richie Stanaway, the points leader, will have a front row start when we go green flag later tonight. Jack LeBrock just missed out on a top 10. Pretty close. Zane Goddard, we didn't get a chance to speak about Zane. He's joining the field tonight for Matt Stone Racing. And that was Jake Kostecki last week, but it's SwiftX Pole Award number 2 for Brody Kostecki. He was the man last week at Charlotte, and he's gone right ahead and backed it up right now. And he's gone from $200 to $400 worth of Bitcoin, thanks to our good friends at SwiftX. Nicely done. Brody Kostecki getting the job done once again. Can he have a little bit more luck in the race? There's a little bit of a moment there with Jaden Ojeda, a couple of guys who have graduated through the Super 2 program, or Jaden hoping to in the next couple of years. But nicely done, Brody Kostecki. Just 2/10 separating Brody from Richie Stanaway. Macaulay Jones inside the top 3. James Golding rounding up the top 4, and Dylan O'Keefe doing a nice job for Team Sydney to put that car into 5th. Jonathan, enjoyed that?
Yeah, certainly. I enjoyed not only the carnage, but the quick racing, the quick drivers. We've got 2 big races coming up around Long Beach and Pocono. Don't leave us.
Now, a little change of strategy as well that we'll touch more on in the race. That's going to affect the All-Stars. There'll also be BP Ultimate safety car as well to think about.
Yeah, there will. There will be a mandatory BP safety car intervention during our Pro Series, during our All-Stars race. The Pro Series will be at Long Beach. It's optional for the BP Ultimate Safety Car to head out there. Let's see how it goes.
All right, that's SwiftX qualifying done. Dane Warren and Brody Kostecki have picked up the pole awards. Let's throw it to Neil Crompton and Sydney as we get set to go racing tonight.
The E-Series opening night had it all.
Oh no, huge crash at the pit entry.
Wild action on the oval.
And he's gone too, and Stanaway takes the lead.
Old faces returning to victory lane.
And Richie Stanaway back to victory lane.
And a champion picking up where he left off.
Dane Warren leads a Warren family 1-2.
In week 2, it's an All-American round. The pros take on Long Beach, the All-Stars tackle Pocono, and a legend is back on the grid. It's time to fire up the sim and head stateside. This is the Cash Converters Supercars E-Series.
Hi everybody, great to have your company this evening. Welcome to the Cash Converters Supercars E-Series. Well, the pictures might be virtual, but I can assure you the passion and the skills are very, very real. And tonight, our second of 6 rounds for the E-Series. And last weekend, as you saw in the opener, what a show, extraordinary. Richie Stanaway made a comeback. We're looking forward to seeing him in the Repco Bathurst 1000 later in the year. He was in the Boost Mobile entry. He'll be teaming up with Greg Murphy later in the season. We're looking forward to that, and he did a great job to steer around all the carnage and managed to survive. And in terms of the pro gamers, what about the performance from Dane Warren? Made it a family affair, a 1-2 ahead of his brother, and he came home, did a beautiful job in Austria. So what's on the menu for tonight? Well, it's an all-USA affair, and we're off to one of my favourite circuits at Long Beach in California, opposite the beautiful port area and the Queen Mary. 17 laps for Pro Series racing. That's for the pro gamers, and then it'll be race 2 across to the other side of the country from the west to the east to Pocono Raceway. It's the tricky triangle, an oval track, a very different style of racetrack, and 23 laps. Well, I made mention a few moments ago of the notion of there being wildcards. There's a mega wall. We've got a whole pile of supercars, superstars to catch up with tonight, together with Dunlop Super 2 drivers and special invited guests, together with the pro gamers, but a very, very special guest for us tonight. He joins us from across the ditch in New Zealand. It is a very good evening and welcome to an old mate, Greg Murphy. Hey, mate.
Mr. Crompton, great to see you and hear your voice, mate. It's been a little bit too long, but I'm going well over here in lockdown. I'm a bit nervous about tonight, to be honest.
Hey, mate, before we talk about E-Series, and there's lots to talk about, and I'm sure you've done a whole pile of seat time and you're all revved up and ready to go, you're going back to Bathurst. Now, I reckon by my memory, the last time you were there was 2012. What are you thinking?
I did manage to go there a couple more times as the co-driver, which I'm going back again as the co-driver this time around with Richie, but with James Courtney in 13 and 14. But I don't know what I was thinking. I was bribed, I was corrupted, I was guilt-trapped into it by Mr. Peter Addison. So, yeah, mate, I hate to get my head around it because it was a bit of a tricky thing. And to be honest, I sort of have become quite used to the thought of it, and I'm actually now quite excited about the prospect and going there in a totally different, way of going racing.
Well, it's a fantastic opportunity for you. You've got vast experience. You're a 4-time Bathurst winner. Now, your teammate actually went pretty good in this caper last week, so there is just a touch of pressure in this Boost Mobile entry.
He's doing exactly what we would be doing if we were in the real car teamed up together at Bathurst. He's doing all the really hero stuff at the fast stuff at the front of the field, and I'll just be sort of meandering around slowly behind.
Now, I have to ask the question because all of a sudden there's wildcard fever at Bathurst this year. You're going to be out there with an old sparring partner. You've headbutted him in the past, but you've been mates and then you've not been mates. But you're out there with Russell Ingall again. So we're all looking forward to that one. That'll be a bit of fun.
You've covered it beautifully. Yes, we did. We went through so many different phases. But yeah, it's been great for supercars, I think, as a whole, just to have a few more different talking points. And there's definitely a bit of pressure on between the two of us to see who comes out on top, no doubt.
Looking forward to seeing you at Bathurst later in the year, Murph. Pleasure to catch up with you and have fun tonight. Make sure you keep it pointed in the right direction. Shoreline
Thanks,
chap.
Crompo.
Thanks,
Good on
Murph.
you,
Good
mate.
on you, mate. Have fun, and can't wait to see him in action later in the year at Mount Panorama, and he'll be driving in the Boost Mobile entry together with Richie Stanaway. So we had a wild ride, as I said before, last weekend, boys, and to call all the action again for this evening, we've got Jonathan Simon, our expert, together with Chad Nailon. What can we look forward to, boys?
G'day, Crompo. Really looking forward to what's going to be a big night. I think I'm most looking forward to Pocono because it's something that we've never seen before, Jonathan.
Yeah, it certainly is a tricky triangle. It's a circuit. We've been to ovals, we've been to road courses, but never a triangle.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing if the only two guys in the lead lap can crash into each other again tonight as well. That had my, that was absolutely side-splitting last week. Cash Converters points series scored to this point. Like we said, it's a Dane Warren and Ethan Warren 1-2 in the pros. Remember, the pros are the amateurs and the amateurs are the pros in this series. It's the easy way to explain it. Jake Burton sitting inside the top three after a really nice job last week. And Dane Warren was able to continue that in SwiftX qualifying and pick up his second consecutive SwiftX pole award. And he'll net himself $140 US worth of iRacing credit as well to unlock a few more tracks and cars. Great job.
Fourth career pole position for your reigning series champion. Dane Warren is on fire, and he is the man to beat here. You can't beat him today. You don't have many rounds left on offer in the E-Series.
Yeah, did a great job driving to a pretty much mid sort of I think it was a 119.5 in the end, and about a tenth of a second clear of the rest of the field. So nice job, SwiftX Pole Award once again to Dane Warren and the crew from Walkinshaw and Andretti United. Great to have a street circuit back because we know here in Australia we love watching the Repco Supercars Championship competing on the street circuit. So that's what we've got tonight. And for our next level racing track preview, Jonathan, you're going to talk us through what is a really tricky street circuit made famous by IndyCar, but certainly had its time with Formula One as well in the 70s. I wonder what it's going to be like in a supercar.
Yeah, we're at the beach here, Long Beach, so bring your sunscreen virtually at least. Slip, slop, slap as we head over to turn one. It's a heavy braking zone here, and this is your best overtaking spot on the circuit. Shove it into this corner right here as fast as possible, right up close to the walls. Then we head to the fountain complex. There's actually a fountain there around this roundabout of jumping dolphins, but no, it's got nothing to do with Free Willy or any of that movie or type. You head into a tricky couple of corners here. Turn 5 in particular right here is off camber, bumpy. You want to high-five the wall on the exit. Right up close and give it a nice little kiss. Turn 6, one motion on the steering wheel. Ease the car into here. Pick up the throttle with the right foot. These following corners are not overtaking spots, but they can set yourself up for an overtake the next time round. Chuck it into 8. Brilliant exit required here to pick up a victory. The same way Alan Jones has. The same way Scott Dixon has the Kiwi. Will Powers picked up a couple of IndyCar victories here too. And now we head into the car park section. Avoid any stray shopping trolleys. Shouldn't be any here in the car park, left alone. Just tiptoe your way around here. Final corner, turn 11. A lot of carnage expected through here. We've seen some track is jammed moments at Long Beach at this particular corner. On the left-hand side is the Pacific Ocean. On the right is the pit entry. That is a lap around a brilliant street circuit that is Long Beach.
Well done, Jonathan. That's your next level racing track preview. Looking forward to seeing how it translates into a supercars race. Neil Crompton, it's a track that's only, 30 minutes from downtown LA, and I'm sure it's a place that you were very well behaved when you had your lucky chance to go and visit that part of the world.
Yeah, love that racetrack. Thanks, boys. Looking forward to it. A supercar on Shoreline Drive. Fantastic. Doesn't get much better than that. Those cars will be howling down there at 300 k's in just a tick on the other side of the break, thanks to Cash Converters. And as we go to the break, thanks to our good friends at Shannon's, here's a fantastic way for you to win some amazing prizes.
Our friends at Shannon's are giving motoring enthusiasts the chance to win 2 automotive icons, a 1977 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am and a new Chief Dark Horse Indian motorcycle. The prize also includes up to 12 months Shannon's comprehensive car and bike insurance and Shannon's roadside assist, plus $5,000 cash. That's up to $110,000 in prizes. To enter, go online or call Shannon's on 13 46 46 and obtain an eligible quote on your car, bike or home insurance. The Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Shaw. Sound extraordinary on and off the track.
These, thanks. Good choice. That'd be $52.99, thanks. Thanks.
Repco, it starts with the parts.
Make more of the things you want possible with Cash Converters. Life made possible.
The Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Pioneer DJ. Born to perform, pioneers of excellence.
Cash Converters Supercars E-Series. Welcome back. Make sure you settle in for our two big races for this evening. First up, we go to Long Beach, which will be the grand finale location for the final round of the IndyCars in 2021. We've got our fingers crossed that our old mate Scott McLaughlin can claim the Rookie of the Year trophy for 2021 at Team Penske. And then coming up a little bit later on in the show, we're off to a tricky triangle, an oval at Pocono. But Chad and Jonathan, gentlemen, let's make this all nice and American style. Please start your engines.
I love it. Drivers, start your engines. Yes, we're off to Long Beach. It's not the Toyota Grand Prix Long Beach, but it's going to be something a little bit different tonight, Jonathan. Really looking forward to seeing how this is going to work out. What can we look forward to tonight in our Shannon's Insurance Race Facts? How's this all going to play out?
There's a lot of considerations in today's Pro Series event. 17 laps of action, 24 minutes if we go time certain. There is one compulsory pit stop required by the rules where you need to take tyres, but look at the starting fuel load. It's less than the fuel required for the race, and that means drivers will need to take 20 litres of fuel in their pit stop to make the checkered flag. Here is the circuit, 3.1 kilometres. There are 11 corners around here. 8 of them are braking zones. 550 metre run from pole position to turn number 1. Not a lot of elevation change either. We are expecting that pit window to take place from laps 5 to 10. No driver can make it past lap 10, Chad, on fuel load, and even to make lap 10 they'll need to do a lot of fuel saving in that first stint. It's going to be a cracker of a strategy or strategic event. Can't wait for the real one.
Yeah, hopefully we get a little bit of a scenario where we can see drivers trying to leapfrog each other through the pit stop window, getting onto a new set of tyres nice and quick. How cool is that view? It's the craziest Zoom chat you'll ever see going on right now as everyone is ready to go. And we're ready to go right now with our Crust Pizza starting grid. Cut me off a slice of this. It's Dane Warren on pole alongside Jared Philsell, two of the best in the business on the front row. And then we go back and we'll find Jackson Suzlin Harlow from Brad Jones Racing and his old BJR teammate Madison Down in the Repco 24/7 entry. Jordan Caruso's got life changer on the doors this week. He's a Repco driver. Cooper Webster, Neil Wintoul's Team 18 entry. Andrew Gilliam drove a Super 3 car this week. How cool is that? Alongside Jake Burton, they both have real supercar driving test day experience. James Scott and Ethan Warren. Ethan finishing inside the top 3 last week, right behind his brother. He's at Tickford, his brother's at Walkinshaw. Ryan Wood, local legends. Now, Dylan O'Keefe's done a good job in the All-Stars. He's qualified a little bit further up the order. Corey Shepherd, row number 6. Forza El Nabi, drove in the All-Stars last year alongside Sam Blacklock, who's in the SwiftX colours. Job Stewart, WD-40 colours last week. He goes to Auslan Group this week alongside Brady Myers, the sole Shell V-Power racing car in the field. Richard Hampstead a little bit further down when we're used to seeing him. Ditto that Josh Anderson as well, who is an Aussie Racing Cars race winner this year. Simon Feigl and Blake Purdy. Happy birthday, Blake. 17 years of age. He'll be starting out of row number 10 for this one. Ethan Gridgould and Emily Jones. She's Miss California for this one, starting outside row number 11. We'll find Wayne Burke and Penrite Racing, Kelly Grove Racing Car off the back of the grid. That's your crust pizza grid as we get set to go racing for what is going to be a very entertaining event around Long Beach.
And we're currently having a report that the track temp is 55 degrees Celsius. It's going to be very tricky and slippery off the start. Line lockers engaged. Here we go.
Wait for the green flag. Dane Warren versus Jared Filsell. Can Jared get the jump and lead the field down towards turn 1? Jackson Suslin Harlow in the R&J Batteries car got a really solid start and will have the inside line for second. Madison Down will go 3 wide. Dane Warren moves to the inside to cover. Can the Brad Jones Racing driver get aggressive down here? Dane Warren will lead the field, and Jared Filsell will just hang on to second. Cooper Webster wants to slice a fourth. Can't quite get there ahead of Madison Down. A little bit of pushing and shoving in the back of the Boost Mobile car. Steps out, and I think we got one around in the background going through the roundabout. It looked pretty congested going through there. No one dropping down the order just yet, so might not be too bad.
It was Ethan Warren and Ryan Wood, so I just caught the local Legends car into the wall. Ethan Warren, who scored a podium last week, is down the order already on lap 1.
So second in the points, sitting 20th on the road. So not where he wants to be, just a 6-race championship. In the Mobile One Minis Data Electrical car is out of there. Great start. As go running up East Seaside Way towards turn 9, 5th gear, all the way back down to second through the car park section. Get that inside curb. Tricky little double left-hander here. It's got a double apex as well. Just let the cars float out, get the inside here, back down to first gear for this very tricky turn 11 slow hairpin, slowest corner of the E-Series.
Very critical for Jared Filsell to remain in the slipstream of Dane Warren. Look at the gaps now, 3/10 the gap across the line. It may go down to 2/10 at most. It'll be a lunge and a half if he goes for a move. I don't think he'll go for it, but if you can keep Dane Warren honest, he can have him on strategy. He needs to stay within half a second to a second, as he's absolutely bottled it into 1.
He absolutely fenced himself. That was a disaster considering he was on then, and look at the gap this has opened up for Dane Warren. So he didn't lose any track position, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's got damage because that went in pretty hard.
I hate to say this, but that was a proper commentary curse. Just as we needed him to keep Dane Warren honest. He's not even on picture, Dane Warren. The Minis car is well up the field. But at least Filsell's kept second. That's critical around the street circuit, is just to maintain track position. We're not expecting those pit stops till later. But is anybody going to blink here at the end of lap 2? I don't think so.
I wonder if this car's got bent steering as a result. The headlights for Jackson Susan Harlow in the R&J Batteries car flashing as he does anything that he can to try and put off Jared Filsell. And that was a shame down at turn 1, lap 2. Cash Converter's instant cash moment. And just watch the back of the boost car. He was crooked. He locked the rears. He goes for a slide. And he finds the tyre wall at turn 1. Did a good enough job to just glance it, so got away with it. Could have been worse.
He's locked the rears, and I know Jared Filsell is very uncomfortable under braking in this car and with the rear master cylinder settings, because they all are running a fixed setup. So braking is the same, but it doesn't necessarily mean it fits everybody's style. If he does have damage, he'll be lucky enough to pick up a Cash Converter's instant cash repair at his pit stop regardless.
Speaking of pit stops, it's a long transit down pit lane. It's going to be 28.2 seconds with the stop. The SwiftX Invisible Pit Crew go to work right now on Sam Blacklock's car. Simon Feigl taking this opportunity for an early stop as well, maybe getting an instant repair like you mentioned. Straight back out and into battle. This is going to be very close to the pit exit.
It's like watching a race of turtles.
Just waiting on the pit lane limiter. Going past our very cool BP Ultimate Ford GT safety car, and back into action it will be Sam Blacklock, leading those who have pitted so far.
So 20 litres of fuel on board to make the end of the race as Jared Filsell holds up. We talk about the trolley train for anybody that watches F1, but that is a mammoth train right there. It dates all the way back to P16. You might age a year by the time you count each car, as Phil Sell doesn't opt to pit this lap. Will anybody blink behind? This is a great view. We've got a Corey Shepard who qualified on the front row last year. Racing boots ready. Surprised he doesn't have the gloves.
So Phil Sell 0.3 of a second slower on that lap, so not too bad, not too much damage than the race leader. 20.2 for Jackson Suzlin Harlow right in behind him. Here we go. The numbers for Corey Shepard. Really difficult approach down here at turn 1. He's already got some damage to the right side of that car, and that's Brady Myers also getting the fence. So a lot of guys struggling with turn 1, and they're all pushing each other through the roundabout.
It's going to be very, very difficult to overtake on the racetrack, as Corey Shepard has a little kiss with the barrier there. They're allowed to cut the curbs on the inside at turn 5. You get to see him at work here. Look at the heel and toe method. I love it. Some drivers opt to left foot brake on the sim. Some drivers just like to blip, but he goes straight heel and toe. Very young and mastering it at 16 years of age. Impressive.
Remember, he's only just qualified to be old enough to even compete in the E-Series. Just watch the footwork. So we're going down the back straight. Going to go from 5th gear all the way back down to 2nd. Here it comes. 4th, 3rd, 2nd.
Goodness gracious, that's
Turn
impressive.
In. Little dab of the throttle up towards the double left-hander. Brake through the middle. Do we get a little short squirt of the throttle? Yes, we do, just before 1st gear at the hairpin. And then feed the power on nice and gently. Cool footwork angle. Nicely done, Corey Shepard.
James Scott for BP Ultimate Racing has entered the lane.
Yeah, and he's brought some company. So 4 drivers on this lap, including Ethan Greekle, Forzan Olnabi, and Ethan Warren. Throw in Ryan Wood and the guys who are in that lap 1.
What can you call
melee?
Yeah, melee
on that one.
That's a good word.
Yep, around the Fountain Complex where we are right now.
So this is where the pit window opens, and you're going to see a flurry of pit stops. If anyone is brave enough to head to lap 10, I'll be surprised. But it's there. It's not a mandatory window, but can they make it on fuel? Now, remember, we said track temp is now rising. It's almost 56 degrees Celsius, which means tyre degradation. We listed as medium or normal in our Shannon's Insurance race facts. I'd say it's almost high at the moment, so you could see another few drivers dive in this lap. Lucky enough for Jared Filsell, he's broken the 2nd barrier to Madison down in P4. He had it for a moment, now he doesn't, but that is critical for pit stop so he doesn't get undercutted.
All right, Erebus youngster Job Stewart, let's look over his shoulder in our Sure Sounds of the Game. Nailed the pit entry. It's a really awkward way to get into the pits as well. 1st gear, hard right, just as you're grabbing 2nd gear. Grab the pit lane limiter, and then ride up through this long pit lane complex. That's your Sure Sounds of the Game. Sound extraordinary on and off the track. And see where he pops out into the field. So Warren with a handy gap. Nearly 3 seconds over Jared Filsell. Jackson Suzlin Harlow keeping Filsell honest. Those guys had a great scrap in the dying stages of race 1 at the Red Bull Ring last week. Here's a guy who popped up in the Pro E-Series late last year, had 3 races under his belt before we arrived in the championship last year. James Scott, BP Ultimate Racing Team. He's working through past the aquarium and through the Fountain Complex. Not enough racetracks race around aquariums these days. I'm going to see if we can make that happen somewhere in Australia.
Very good, astute observation, Chad, as he heads through turn 5. James Scott, who is 23 years of age, represents the Logitech G Altus Esports team away from BP Ultimate Racing and his sim racing efforts. His team boss from sim racing is actually racing today. That's Simon Feigl in the Shaw racing car. Doing a great job representing BP. Won this seat off a wildcard entry last year in our Pro E-Series.
Doing a nice job at the moment. Yeah, it's funny that a lot of the drivers, they only really spend these 6 weeks driving for their Supercars E-Series team, and the rest of the year is Phil spending a lot of nights on iRacing driving for their esports team, which there are many. Emily Jones signed for one of the biggest.
Yep, McLaren Shadow. That is the McLaren, the F1 team. It's their esports version of the team. She's basically grinded up near the wall there like it's skateboarding. So where is she placed at the moment? She's in 10th and yet to serve her 1 compulsory pit stop for this race. In pure focus, ready to go, and ready to potentially undercut Wayne Burke, who started all the way down the back in this one. Now, where is Jared Filsell placed? Oh no, that's Forza El Nabi on the front stretch. That's a ridiculous place to bottle the car here at the start. He's absolutely whacked the barrier, and he sustained a lot of damage too.
All right, instant cash moment, and how has Forza El Nabi ended up facing this direction? Bang! That's how Sam Blacklock getting together, and Simon Feigl doing a nice job to avoid all that chaos on the start-finish line. That's a crazy spot to have an accident.
And all your leaders have dived in at the moment. So we've got Dane Warren in the lane, Jackson, Suzlin Harlow, Madison Down, Jake Burton, Brady Myers, Emily Jones. Lap 8 is the trigger point for a lot of these drivers. Here is your championship leader.
Gets it stopped. Up it goes. In behind him, Suzlin Harlow. Where will they wash out with Filsell, who pitted a lap ago? So Filsell getting on the offensive here, given that he had that lap 2 error. And is it going to be enough to close that gap to the back of Dane Warren? We had a fairly handy gap to just be able to fend off any chance of an undercut.
And Shoreline Drive here has a lot of camber on it. You can see on the front stretch and in the pit lane. Where is Jared Filsell? There he appears in the background in the Boost Mobile Racing Commodore. Dane Warren's got him covered. And does Filsell have P2 covered? It looked like it from that shot. Let's see on the exit. Oh, not even close.
So nicely covered off from Filsell. So that was aggressive, and it actually made sure that he was safe from any attack from the undercut from the Brad Jones guys behind him. So nicely done. Now we're hearing that there will be a drive-through for Sam Blacklock for that contact on the front straight. We're seeing a lot more penalties pulled straight away in the races compared to last year, which is good to see. I think everyone likes to know what the score is on the racetrack. We saw that last week with quite a few drive-throughs handed out and penalties dished out mid-race, and we're going to slap one here on Sam Blacklock in the SwiftX car for contact with Forza El Nabi.
Yep, and that was triggered by Ben Rothberg, who's the driving standards observer this year, along with his team of Peter Reid, Jake Blackhall, and James Cowan, our race director. He acts as both. Not a big team, not an FIA team, not a Supercars team that we normally have, but it's a team.
Yeah, he's virtual Beto tonight, standing alongside our virtual Michael Massey's and the rest of the guys tucked up there in race control.
Very surprising, by the way, Wayne Burke, who started near the back in P23, is yet to make his pit stop. So to run to lap 10, he's had to do some fuel saving. Might as well pull off something different. In the lane were Andrew Gilliam, Blake Purdy, Corey Shepherd, a whole flurry of cars that lap round. Here is Sam Blacklock, who will serve that penalty this lap round. Or has he already? He seems well down the order.
Cool to see Sam Blacklock make the switch across to the blue SwiftX Commodore. Drove for DJR Team Penske last year. He's been a lifelong DJR fan, which is pretty cool as well. So, love the look at the sky blue SwiftX entry. Australian company on board. And great to have them on board for SwiftX qualifying as well.
Jake Burton, by the way, quick fact for you, last week as he's on the attack here on James Scott, finished on the podium. It was the record for worst starting position to a podium in our E-Series. He's climbing up through the order here on James Scott. Up the inside at turn 9. I talked about this as a hot spot in our race facts. Didn't think he was going to get the move done. It's very tight on the apex there. He'll have to make it stick around the outside and poke a nose in the hairpin.
This would be a mega move if he can stay alongside him. He can for the hairpin. Do they give each other room? It's so hard to even drive through there. Single file, let alone two file, and Andrew Gilliam cops a whack for getting involved in that one and drops back a spot behind Jordan Caruso. That was a great scrap as we get to the end of lap 10. Now all drivers have had their pit stop, and Caruso working the back of Scott's car and Gilliam on the outside. Coming off the back of that real-world Super 3 test the other day for Matt Stone Racing. Got to drive Jason Gomesol's unit number 35 Ford Falcon. What a cool opportunity that was. And this fight is on.
Cooper Webster in 5th as well. Good to see him have a clean run this week after struggling in qualifying last week. And we ride on board with Gilliam. Right on the rear end of the life-changer Mustang of Caruso. Oh, look, very smart driving by Caruso there. If you notice, he dragged the brake into the corner to carry more speed and force Gilliam to pull out of the move, which left him vulnerable into here, turn 8. They're still alongside each other on the exit. Rubbin is racing, fellas, and I love it. Brilliant scrap between them both.
This is awesome. They'll still be side by side the whole way down East Seaside Way towards turn 9. And finally, Caruso knows that he's beat and pulls back in behind the unit yellow cover Commodore. What a cool scrap that was. These guys have been having at it for pretty much the entire lap.
And as far as I can see, no dramas for anyone in the field in their pit stops. All the time seemed pretty reasonable. Wayne Burke obviously entered the lane and handed the lead back to Dane Warren, who opens up that advantage to 2.5 seconds on Jared Filsell. But for Brady Myers, if you were wondering last week, he did qualify in the top 10. There was a missing spot on the grid, and it was hard to notice, but he actually missed the start. He wasn't ready for it and had to start from pit lane and still picked up a great result, only about 10-15 seconds away from the leader.
Simon Feigl further back, and this one going all the way back to Blake Purdy, the birthday boy, and Emily Jones. Whack. Oh, that's a horrible spot for Wayne Burke. That was really hard to avoid. And also Richard Hampstead, who had dramas on lap 1 on that Cash Converters replay. That was tight. And plenty of drama going further back in the field. So we add a street circuit to the mix, and all of a sudden you get all the chaos that we love about street circuit races. Loving the action tonight.
Well, Chad, you yourself, you've got a Next Level Racing GT track at home. It's got seat belts. Might as well strap yourself in, because you need them for a street circuit, as Brady Myers challenges the young Jordan Caruso here around the outside. Former teammates in the sim racing world, rivals in E-Series world now. Very sluggish corner is the hairpin at 11, and he'll have another crack at it into turn 1 for sure.
Well, this is great. Majority of the field now on tyres that are getting very slippery. Remember that high track temp, 55 degrees Celsius, making the latter part of this race a torrid affair. As now Myers gets to the inside. Can they both stop it down here? Just Caruso finds the fence. And Myers will move through, and he might just lose another one here with Job Stewart swinging past as the teenager picks him off. And that battle is still going on. Ethan Grigg-Gault in there. Contact. Stewart now slides out.
Oh, what's going on?
Blake Purdy in there, and further contact as Ethan Grigg-Gault had a bit of a net code. And his car, which is a car that had been moving up the field, started second last row, has fallen all the way back down the pack, so that's a shame.
Where was he? Was he off the racetrack? Or he was just shoved out of the way like he was discarded rubbish, basically, as Ethan Grigg-Gault, who had a cracking race last week, has fallen into some. That looked like a lot of bad luck there. I think the contact happened, though, before that. And it's a good sign, isn't it, Chad, when you lead a race and you seem barely unnoticed. Dane Warren has driven splendidly here again. If he continues on like this, he will pick up his 4th career win, but it's not over yet. Any mistake at a street circuit, your race is done. We saw it happen to Jared Filsell on lap 2. Can he hold off Jackson Suzlin-Harlow for that 2nd position?
So similar drivers who were in that podium fight last week. Just missing Jake Burton, who did pick up the last step on the podium.
And as I talked about earlier, that record, by the way, if you were wondering, that I mentioned, was actually off a non-reverse grid race. Here's the contact that happened. So Ethan Warren up the inside of Grigg-Gault's. And it was the Shannon's car of Blake Purdy. So I don't put that down to bad luck. I think Purdy's turned him around before the connection issue. So will our racing stewards think, okay, that is a legit penalty for Blake Purdy, as I'm going to make this joke one more time. Cash Converters is not taking that car after that one.
No, that one is toast, unfortunately, for Ethan Grigg-Gault. Now, down the back straight once again. Filsell sliding his way through turns 9, 10, and 11. Not a huge difference in tyre life, just the 1 lap difference. Suzlin-Harlow does have a lot of speed.
Much time remaining, though.
They played the strategy card pretty well to just get aggressive on that undercut for Jared Filsell.
Suzlin-Harlow into turn 1. Just have a listen to him. How smooth he is on the throttle. That's his karting experience. He was 2020 New South Wales karting champion. Races for Tom Williamson Motorsport. And with that opportunity with Tom Williamson, and of course with Brad Jones Racing, got to test last year in a Super 3 car. It was a thrilling experience. I got to head to Winton that day. I got to check out Suzlin-Harlow giving it his best shot. He was very quick too. I think he's a star of the future, and I think he's somebody who will certainly, in the next few years, hopefully pick up a Supercars drive. It all comes down to budget sometimes.
Yeah, Tom Williamson's become a pretty familiar face in the Supercars paddock at Brad Jones Racing. Does a lot of work with Macaulay Jones. A lot of guys using karting as a way to stay sharp in the field. So dying stages of the one and only race that we'll get tonight in the pro field. Race 2 of 6 in their championship. Dane Warren looking for the perfect point score. Jared Filsell looking for his first podium of the year. It's going to shake up the points. Jackson Suzman-Harlow will be looking pretty good overall with Jared Filsell. They'll probably be sitting second, third. Jake Burton might drop a spot here. Ethan Warren, not a bad recovery from Ethan where he was on lap 1 to get all the way back up to be 11th at the moment. That's a good drive.
Goes to show his race pace at a young age. All he has to do is look over his shoulder at his brother's race data. As here is a train down the order led by Jordan Caruso in 9th. Myers up the inside for a top 9 spot. They collide again.
He got out of it though, got his foot out of the bucket. Here is Ethan Warren in this fight. So there'll be a few guys that are surely carrying a wounded car in this fight. Blake Purdy in the Shannon's Insurance car. Also in this one with Corey Shepherd. So a couple of teenagers in this fight. They're all queuing up behind Jordan Caruso. He's got the different colours on the car tonight. And a great job by Life Changer and Repco working together to throw some new virtual paint at this car. Life Changer, the official charity for the Repco Bathurst 1000. And they help to build self-esteem, self-worth and resilience in youth. That's what that's all about. And cool to spread some awareness tonight. And Jordan Caruso, he'll be driving in the mirrors right now, and those mirrors are full.
Oh, he had a little peek there, did Brady. But doesn't go for the move. Now, what do you reckon, Chad? I reckon this circuit is like the long-lost American twin of Surfers Paradise. Don't you reckon? It seems very, very similar to our Gold Coast Street circuit. Hopefully we get that race back in 2021, but it's going to be very, very risky to end the year over there. As we begin 2 laps to go. Dane Warren's extended the advantage again to Filsell. It's up to Myers here to claim another position. Again, missed the grid last week, needs to claim every point possible for the championship. I think he dove up the inside there at the last moment, and again they rub.
Almost identical to the last lap, and he's sideways all the way up towards the roundabout. Ethan Warren sneaks through. Job Stewart in there, and he's going to go backwards through this pack as Blake Purdy gets to the inside as well. He's on the wrong side here. He's in the fence. Stewart goes around. Purdy's involved on his 17th birthday. Corey Shepherd there too. I missed who that was coming through. Maybe Hampstead is going to pick all of these guys up.
Oh my goodness.
Look at the carnage.
What a shambles. Just like IndyCar in 2014 here, 4 of your 5 leaders were taken out at that corner. And again, it's happened here in Supercars.
This is awesome. Shepherd again now to the inside. These two aren't finished yet. They're going to make sure every single panel in these cars is carrying a scrape. And it's the Pioneer DJ versus the DJR car. And how did this all unfold, Jonathan?
Do you want me to actually explain that?
Self-explanatory. Everybody crashed into everybody on the Cash Converters replay. Simon Feigl just snuck through.
What is he doing?
Ryan Wood couldn't quite get there.
That's sorry, but that's rule number 1. You don't reverse onto the only clean part of the track, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm talking about the 48 there, but we'll leave it at that.
It's a birthday boy. You get to do whatever you want on your birthday, especially when you're 17.
No, you don't. That was ridiculous. Anyway.
Dane Warren on his last lap. He's missed all the chaos. Hopefully he's been able to watch it on the virtual big screens because it's been entertaining. More street circuits, please, on iRacing because they are awesome. We need to get nothing but street circuits.
Well, we've got Montreal.
Yep.
Fans' choice.
Fans' choice.
Is there any other ones? I don't think so.
What a huge selection of street circuits.
Who cares? We've got Winton and Sandown next year. I'm celebrating for that.
How good. Further back, Jared Filsell doing enough to hang on to second. Jackson Suzman-Harlow, Madison down. Cooper Webster, the top 5. And this has been a great night so far. He's going to add to his tally. The fight for second, the fight for the last few spots on the podium will go all the way to the wire. And how about this? We're going to drift our way to the checkered flag. Careful, Dane Warren. Warren doubles up. And it's Long Beach where he picks up another 150 points in the championship. Well done, Walkinshaw Andretti United. Well done, Dane Warren. And he has got the job done in California. That was cool. I like the celebratory skid all the way to the checkered flag as well. Very Shane Van Gisbergen-esque. And that is job done. Darren Warren from Jared Vilsell, Jackson Suzlin Harlow inside the top 3. And they're all on a cool-down lap right now. I think we need a cool-down lap because that was pretty hectic.
How about that for Jared Vilsell? 13th career podium in our Supercars E-Series. He's driven so consistently, and he's only picked up 4 wins himself, but again, fell short to this, man. Your reigning champion, and if he keeps on winning, he'll be unbeatable, obviously. Yep. But he's just matched the streak for wins as well with Josh Rogers. He's that dominant. Without Rogers, well, he's in for no challenge.
Bosch race highlights. Race 2 of the championship, Long Beach, California. Dane Warren started off the SwiftX pole position and got a really nice jump. Jared Vilsell was under pressure when we arrived at turn 1 from Jackson Suzlin Harlow, and then did this to himself, trying to stay with the race leader on lap 2. Further back in the pack, Sam Blacklock picked up a drive-through penalty for turning around Falls in Alnabi, and then it was on. The mid-pack battle was as good as we've seen so far in the Pro E-Series so far.
A lot of contact between these two. Jordan Caruso made a lot of contact with Brady Myers behind in the Shell V-Power Mustang. As we saw another incident here between Emily Jones and Blake Purdy. Blake Purdy is going to have to go to the virtual stewards room after this race because he was involved in a lot of unwanted incidents. This is the street circuit big one. This was the pile-up that IndyCar had in 2014, part 1, and then part 2 later on as Ethan Grigol was out of the race.
Yeah, this is where it really kicked off. Brady Myers, Job, Stewart, and everybody else all piling on in between turns 4 and 5. And then it was Dane Warren, win number 4 for his career, just cruising to victory. Had so much time he could have a little bit of a celebration on his way to the checkered flag. Well done to Walkinshaw Andretti United. And there are your Cash Converters race results. Dane Warren from Jared Vilsell, Jackson Suzlin Harlow, that's your podium. Madison Down, another good bunch of points. Jake Burton, who came in 3rd in points this weekend, should be looking pretty. Jordan Caruso, man, he was busy with James Scott. Ethan Warren, he was almost last on that opening lap, and he managed to get back inside the top 10. So that was a pretty good race from Long Beach, California. But Crompo, the folks in the E-Series, not the only guys to have visited Long Beach. I want to take you back to the year 1997, when a very young Neil Crompton had a bit of a gap year over there. And how about that? Crompo taking home some crystalware. There he is, before and after. You looked happier on that day, Crompo.
That was a private exchange, Chad. I will talk to you about that later on, and everyone in the control room, I'll talk to you about that as well. Oh, get them off. No one wants to see this garbage.
Young Crompo's my favourite. It's great.
Yeah. What about your line? With the battle for the minors, everybody's crashed into everybody. That's outstanding. so descriptive. Well done.
Learn from the best. Learn from the best.
All right, well, that's another fantastic performance by Dane. How's his form so far? He's had 2 pole positions for 2 victories, got maximum points to his name, and I believe he's standing by for us as well. So came home with a very big margin in the end, almost 3 seconds. So Dane, congratulations, beautiful job. But I want to talk about the family involvement before we talk about the technicalities of motor racing. Apparently, Mum's come over to congratulate you and messed up your hair. Is this true?
I have no doubt. They always like to come in and celebrate with me.
Okay. Well, listen, congratulations. Beautiful drive. Well done to everybody at Mobil 1, Middies and Walkinshaw Andretti United. You blew them away, and I was impressed in qualifying and in that run just how much of the margin at that track that you were using. There wasn't a millimetre to spare anywhere.
Yeah, well, you have to around here, which I guess similar to any of the street circuits that supercars run in real life. You really have to use every millimetre, get right up against the wall to get the most out of the track. So, yeah, did that, and we were quickest by a decent margin, which I'm a big fan of, to be honest. That makes it nice and easy for the race.
Well, it was an outstanding drive. Look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks very much for having a chat to us, Dane. Congratulations. You'll be at Road America next week. It's another grand chat. So, Shore Live Chat, another one that we've wrapped up there. We look forward to chatting to him a little bit later on in 7 days. Now, coming up after the break, we're going to catch up with a couple of very special supercar friends. Will Davison is going to join us from the Shell V-Power Racing team. And Todd Hazelwood had a very nice run at Townsville last time out. He's from Brad Jones Racing. You are watching the Cash Converters Supercars E-Series, and I apologise for those stills.
Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Cash Converters, making more of the things you want possible.
Make more of the things you want possible with Cash Converters. Life made possible.
Our high-performance race team needs a high-performance technology partner.
At Red Bull Ampol Racing, we rely on HP computers to power our on-track winning performance.
The Supercars Championship ignites and buffers.
The HP product range keeps us on top from design to drive. Red Bull Ampol Racing, powered by HP and available right now at Harvey Norman.
Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Cash Converters, making more of the things you want possible.
Here comes Will Davison. He goes at the top. That is the fastest lap ever at Hidden Valley, a 5:05.
Here come the Shell cars. What have they got? Davison, a 4.95. So he backs it up beautifully.
Will Davison gets his first pole for DJR today. He gets a second one straight up.
Hope you're enjoying our program tonight. The Cash Converters Supercars E-Series and a couple of very impressive Armour All pole positions there for the Shell V-Power Racing Team driver Will Davison. And Will joins us on the line, special guest tonight. We missed him last week. He was spectating, texting me in the middle of it all. Wilbur, it's great to see you.
Great to hear your voice, Neil. I'm only back just so I can have a chat with you.
Oh, that's good, mate. Lovely to see you.
Good to chat.
Let's talk sense about what happened in Darwin and the progress that you guys have been making so far this year. It's been really impressive. So, new team, new engineer partnership, trying to acclimatise. You've done a beautiful job, and in the recent past, some very impressive results. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. It's yeah, I mean, I'm loving the year. Absolutely thriving on just being back with an organisation that's, you know, been so successful. You know, such amazing people in the team, and the pressure's on. I mean, I'm loving it. We've got some tough, you know, critics out there and taskmasters. You know, we're here to win. So, yeah, we're pretty happy with our year to date. I mean, 2 new drivers. You know, a little bit of an upheaval at the team, but the core of the team is, you know, unchanged, and yeah, it's a pleasure to be a part of. So we're pushing to take that next step, but we've certainly ticked quite a few boxes already, and we just need to find a bit more, and that's no doubt going to come.
How hard has it been to acclimatise to a new car, new team, new philosophy? One of the things that has interested me as a second part of the question is the consistency. So even on the days where you've not necessarily been mega, you've ticked good points along the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's all relative, isn't it? You know, I think pretty much most teams out there would be, you know, envious to have the results Anton and I have had. You know, we've had 15 podiums between us and plenty of pole positions, and you know, we're right there weekend in, weekend out. But naturally, you know, wins are what are expected for us, and you know, we feel that, and you know, we are consistent. We're right there, no matter what. Our bad days are right there, but you know, naturally, winning's what we're after. So, but that doesn't just come for free in this game, as we all know. We're up against some fierce opposition, particularly the T8 guys, and in particular Cam and Chaz, that you know, have got quite a lot of continuity with their team. So, you know, we're pretty happy with what we're doing. It's not easy, you know. There's no magic, no silver bullet. It's just that innate understanding of each other in the team, and really what makes it tick in relatively short amounts of time in the pressure cooker qualifying sessions and whatnot. So. Yeah, the car's great. I mean, the car's fantastic. It's just, you know, a few times in race trim, we probably just need a little bit more, and I need that bit better understanding of the car without trying to make mistakes. So I'm loving it though, and you know, I'm pretty happy where we're at so far.
Big tempo change now. You're about to become a good old boy. You're going to go oval track racing. Have you done much sim time? Are you up to speed on this one, Will?
Listen, I literally had to dust the cobwebs off. You know, Ree was just thrilled that I've taken over the lounge room again with this thing. But
say hi for us.
So we do quite a bit of sim work at the team, and but yeah, this one I haven't done much prep tonight, to be honest. So yeah, roll straight into the race. I think it's going to be survival, and it's I'm sensing by this triangle natured circuit and three corners that it's a recipe for disaster. So I'm going to try and stay out of trouble, but it should be some fun. Big draft racing.
Looking forward to it, mate. It'll be a heap of fun if it's anything like what we saw last week. So 5th in the Repco Supercars Championship year to date, 5 rounds to come. Look forward to seeing you very soon, Will, and thanks for all the kind wishes.
Thanks, Neil. Good to chat. See you guys.
See you, brother. All right, let's jump down now to Brad Jones Racing superstar young Todd Hazelwood joins us on the line now as well. Hey, Todd, great to see you. And I said in last week's chat when I was talking to the boys that, you know, you're only as good in this caper as your last results. And your last several results at the last couple of events at Townsville have been outstanding. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. Great to hear your voice again, as Will said. Yeah, I wish we could go back to real racing and use that momentum that we just created. It was really great to, you know, finally have some strong results at Townsville. We finally found our mojo, and we're fast in quality, fast in the race, and knocking on the door of a podium, fighting Will there to the end in the last race that we did. So, you know, as drivers, you always want to use that confidence and momentum, but obviously a bit of a break now. So now it's just eyes focused on this E-Series program, trying to maximise that and work out how to go fast around in circles.
Such a difficult task, isn't it? Because the feeling with the sim is so dramatically different to driving the regular race car. It's a genuine mental challenge, though.
Yeah, it's probably more mentally frustrating because, you know, us drivers will get pretty fired up and we want to succeed, but at the same time, it's pretty chaotic and totally different feeling sensation to what it's like in real life. So, yeah, from my point of view, just trying to, as Will sort of said, trying to survive. You know, last week I got right to the dying stages of the race and then got put in the wall. So, you know, hopefully we'll keep doing that again today. We've got to move forward a bit more in this race. So, yeah, keep the fingers and toes crossed, and we've just fed the duck a little bit of bread, and now we're going to send it.
You probably need it after that shunt that I saw you have a little bit earlier this evening. Thanks, Todd. Good to catch up.
Time, right?
Yeah, anytime you write some invoices for Bradley, that's always fun for all of us. Another Shore live chat with both Will Davison and with Todd Hazelwood. We're going to take a quick break now. When we come back, you'll see the boys in action. They'll go oval track racing in just a moment. This is the Cash Converters Supercars E-Series.
Hold your breath as the green flag flies at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's a sellout crowd tonight. A couple 100 million people at minimum in the stands, Cover. Oh no, huge crash at the pit entry. And now Charter's around. Charter is gone, and now Jake Kosticki's crashed. Insane at the moment. Last time by, and he dumps them. He moves them out of the way, and he's gone too, and Stanaway takes the lead. And Richie Stanaway back to victory lane.
The Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Crust. Fuel up with Crust.
Hi. Steve's, thanks. Good choice. That'd be $52.99, thanks. Thanks.
Repco, it starts with the parts.
Make more of the things you want possible with Cash Converters. Life made possible.
Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Seagate Gaming, specialists in console and PC storage.
On Fox, Sky New Zealand, KO and 7plus. Hope you are enjoying the Cash Converters Supercars E-Series. Well, so far Dane Warren's been a winner tonight at the streets of Long Beach, and that was a great race, and he put together a nice little drive to come home by a decent margin. Now we go oval track racing. You're going to see many of your favourite supercar stars. It's a tri-oval and it's at Pocono, and to call all the action and detail all the information about the track, Chad and Jonathan once more.
Looking forward to this one, Crompo. This track was hand-picked by Jonathan, the man sitting beside me. So if the race is terrible tonight, we can all blame you.
Yes.
But I get the feeling it's actually be really cool because I was doing some iRacing laps around here, and it is a lot of fun. There is no easy way around this track. Let's dive into our Shannon's Insurance race facts and learn a little bit more about what it's going to be like tonight, because there's going to be a little bit of strategy woven into this one as well.
We call it the tricky triangle. Strategy will be the tricky strategy. That doesn't work as well. 23 laps, 24 minutes if we go time certain. Fuel won't be an issue today. We'll come back to that compulsory pit stop because there are some implications you will need to consider to service your car in the opening 10 laps. Pocono, it's one heck of a circuit, isn't it? 2.5 miles super speedway. It's a scalene triangle, each corner different than the next, each straight different in length. It's a 1.1 kilometre straight from turn 3 to turn 1, the longest straight in NASCAR, the same length as a mountain straight. Doesn't seem that long when you put it in those terms. Drivers must pit between laps 1 and 10, and there will be a mandatory BP Ultimate Safety Car after that period to bunch up the field.
Yeah, so that's what we got ourselves a little bit confused last week, is how that strategy played out. Shannon's Insurance race facts right there. So last week we had that confusion around the BP Ultimate safety car coming out before some drivers had served their pit stops. We've done away with that. So pit stops will happen before the mandatory safety car comes out. So that is that box ticked. Swift X Pole Award, and this tick goes once again to Brody Kostecki. He was quick at Charlotte and he's backed it up at Pocono. Remember, this guy has real world speedway experience, doing a very nice job and banking himself another $200 worth of Bitcoin to go with it. So now up to $400 worth of Bitcoin. Well done, Brody.
I would love that. I'm an avid cryptocurrency investor myself, so it's great that SwiftX have come on board and made Brody Kostecki a rich man for the future and a great investment to buy into some Bitcoin.
Well done to Brody Kostecki and the team at Erebus and Boost, and they are doing a nice job in this championship. Thanks to SwiftX, they've picked up their second pole award of the year, and it's a very familiar looking front row on our Crust Pizza starting grid. He'll be alongside the championship leader Richie Stanaway. They were first and second last week in qualifying, and they've backed that up again this week. Looking forward to seeing if the Kiwi can double up from last week. Macca Jones got a really good slipstream in qualifying and puts that car row 2 alongside Jimmy Golding. Dylan O'Keefe, nice job to qualify inside the top 5 for Team Sydney. Chaz Most at Walkinshaw Andretti United, they just won the Pro Series race. Cam Waters sitting nicely inside this championship hunt right now, inside the top 3 alongside Scott Pye. Looking forward to seeing how Scott goes on the oval. He was involved late last weekend. Matty Payne inside the top 2 in the championship. He starts alongside Justin Rougier with some good experience in Super 2. Jack LeBrock alongside Jaden Ojeda, another guy with some good Super 2 experience. Raced last year as a wild card in the Great Race. Matty McLean with the Shaw sponsorship and Andre Heimgartner late in that session managed to pop up to 14th. Will Davison, his first race in the E-Series. And Tyler Everingham, who is joining the E-Series tonight for the first time. Welcome back, Tyler. We saw him last year. Todd Hazelwood and Tony D. Tony D'Alberto running the Logitech colours on the side of his car. Thomas Randall running at Dream Simulation. And Zane Goddard, who replaces Jake Kostecki at Yellow Cover Matt Stone Racing. Greg Murphy, there it is in the Balla Jack Ridge colours once again alongside Sam Brabham, who's running his grandfather's famous Brabham colours. And that is how that works out on our Crust Pizza starting grid. Pizza with passion indeed. And Cash Converters point score off the back of one race so far. Stanaway and Payne, it's a Kiwi 1-2. No Oscar Piastri, of course, tonight, stepping out of car number 2. He was a one-only show. That's your points, Jonathan.
Believe it or not, Brody Kostecki, despite all these poles and all the success in the E-Series, he sets these cars up as well, has never won an E-Series race for supercars. Will he break the duck today? The luck just hasn't been on his side. We spoke about him crossing the line in first place before, but he was demoted with that penalty at Bathurst last year.
On the right-hand side, you see Tyler Everingham. Great to have Tyler back tonight in the Shannon's Insurance colours, filling in for Matt Charter's ride from last weekend. As we roll up towards Barney, the green flag hoist in the air. We're up in the Poconos. We're driving distance from both New York and Pennsylvania in a great part of the world, as we go racing once again in the Pro and All-Star E-Series. This is the All-Stars taking centre stage in the run down towards turn 1, and they're 4 wide back in the pack. And it's a nice start from Brody Kostecki. Swings into the lead. Richie Stanaway goes towards the top. Macaulay Jones working the bottom of the racetrack alongside James Golding, and they're fighting over third. Clean start, 23 laps. Remember, all pit stops need to be served in the opening 10 laps of the race.
Brody Kostecki has a fast race car on him. It was 2/10 quicker than anyone in the field in qualifying. But can he sustain that advantage in the race? He's got the slipstream to contend with this time round. James Golding in third. Macaulay Jones has dropped down to 7th here at the start after a few corners. Not a good start for the Coca-Cola racing driver.
Really feels like a different pace and a totally different attack to what we saw last week at Charlotte, which had much more of a pack drafting super speedway style. Not to say that the toe and the slipstream is not effective here, because you can see them playing the slipstreaming games further back in the pack. Stanaway and Kostecki staying the way it is at the moment. Richie nice and patient.
It's much easier at this racetrack to break free from the rest of the pack. So Kostecki and Stanaway, they need to become best mates for the next 8 laps until that pit window closes. If they can hold off James Golding, it'll be a tough ask, but it's possible. But I think Golding, with all that Pro E-Series experience last year, a top 5 finish in the All-Stars too, some supercars real-world experience as well, I think he'll be able to keep in touch.
Mostert for third. Works the bottom. That's just about a slide job as he works his way back up the racetrack in front of the Pioneer DJ car. Nicely done. Change for third. They've got Dylan O'Keefe tucked in behind them as well. in the Team Sydney car. He works the bottom of the racetrack. We ticked by on lap 3. Couldn't quite get that move done. And was that a change for the lead? It was. Stanaway now, your new race leader.
So working together like road cycling, a little argy-bargy down the back of the pack. Now, remember, you do need to serve that compulsory pit stop in the opening 10 laps, but you don't want to go alone. If you're going to serve that pit stop, you need to have a buddy with you that you can draft and slipstream with. Did I see 3 wide heading into turn 2, the tunnel turn down the back of the pack? I don't think that will end well on the exit.
Stanaway had a big slide coming through turn 3, and as a result, he was slightly vulnerable. The back of the car cracked sideways. Kostecki got a huge run on him but wasn't able to get the most out of it. Mostert tucked in at 3rd. Golding, O'Keefe, Waters, 2nd in the championship. Macaulay Jones still inside the top 10. Scott Pye having one of his best runs in the E-Series. So tries they might, Jonathan. They cannot break the pack as Mostert works the bottom for 2nd.
Well, Seagate fastest lap for Dylan O'Keefe, who's sitting in 5th. So that pack right behind the little, well, you could call it a peloton. It's not really because they're all in the same group, but he's certainly catching the leaders up ahead. Now, it seems like a single groove. Doesn't seem like 2 wide is working. It never really works at Pocono. That's why they apply the traction compound here in the real NASCAR Cup Series. Golding. Is that James Golding? It is in the Pioneer DJ Mustang. Thought he ran wide through the tunnel turn, but he's kept it clean. Turn 3, 6 degrees of banking for Mostert on the inside of O'Keefe. Now, Kostecki and Stanaway can drop the pack because all this racing is not going to help.
Yeah, they're sticking their nose out into the wind. Mostert and Waters, where have you seen this before? As he gives his old buddy a little push down the front straight. Now works the bottom down at turn 1. Stanaway loves the high line through there. Whether it's intentional or not, he's been doing it pretty regularly.
I don't think in 23 laps you can rubber it up, and that's why I mentioned this traction compound. NASCAR in the past couple of years have actually applied a little sticky part of the sticky substance at the top part of the line on the racetrack to help improve the racing.
Cash Converters instant cash moment. And further back, Matt McLean getting caught up with Todd Hazelwood, Will Davison.
Oh no.
And Will said he just wants to have a clean race and stay out of trouble. He was minding his own business at the back of the pack and the crash happened in front of him. And was that Matt Payne 2nd in points? Caught up in that one. It was 2. So all the hard work that Cool Drive did last week, Blanchard Racing Team, and he has dropped down the order. Can get one of those Cash Converters instant cash repairs and try and get back and stay on the lead lap. Remember, we'll catch up on that portion, so there is a chance to use that to his advantage right now if he can stay on the lead lap.
And under the supplementary regulations, they will get their lap back during the mandatory BP Ultimate Safety Car period.
So they're not out of it yet. There is a chance later in the race to tack onto the back of the field, 22-car field. O'Keefe had to get out of the throttle there for a moment. Had a ton of momentum. He caught up to the back of Macaulay Jones. Just at an awkward time. Harvey Norman numbers telling us the story. 250 k's through the mid part of the corner. Going to top out at 295 kilometres an hour at the end of the straight. Own pit stops.
That was late.
Yeah, Chaz Mostert pitting early and a chance to get the undercut here. So the 2 strategies are pit now and try and get the undercut, or pit on lap 10 and have fresh tyres for the restart.
That's incredible. 300 almost without the draft for O'Keefe. I reckon the other drivers were doing close to 310 clicks. Did Mostert speed on entry? We don't know. We didn't have the final pictures. Felt like there's Zapruder film there because we didn't have the full story to tell us, but he will service the car. Now, if he stays here longer than 10 seconds, we will know he sped on entry.
Justin Rougier taking the pit stop with him as the leaders continue their fight. Both Stanaway and Kostecki carrying Boost Mobile sponsorship. They'll both be Erebus teammates when they arrive at the mountain this year for the Repco Bathurst 1000.
Have these drivers been disciplined after last week? There's a lot less carnage. There was one incident.
Pit stops. And with buddies at Scott Pye, with Dylan O'Keefe, Jaden Ojeda, Tyler Everingham, all diving in. And the bad news for Ojeda is he's going to pick up a 5-second post-race penalty. If you're going to get a penalty, you'd love to serve it now because then you can take the restart. Unfortunately, post-race is going to really hurt his charge tonight. Still Stanaway works the top of the racetrack.
You might as well pit this lap. You can run to the end of lap 10, just to clarify.
I'm really interested to know how this is going to work out for those guys who pitted early in terms of track position. Are they going to get much of an undercut? As Waters peaks low. on Golding. This is turn 2, turn 3 on approach here. Watch for anyone ducking off to the left-hand side in the exit of this corner and trying to arrest it down to about 45 miles per hour, which is the pit lane limiter. Waters is going to pit. Is he? Yes.
Dylan O'Keefe, by the way, who's made his pit stop, is setting fastest sectors on fresh rubber. You've got to be careful if you're Kostecki and Stanaway. You're leading this pack, but are you going to lead the effective race once everybody makes their stop? Yes, it's not the do-all, end-all of the event, but we've seen overtaking is not exactly easy, and so you need that track position after the mandatory BP Ultimate Safety Car intervention.
So yes, you will get some track position maybe from this undercut, but how much will you spend in terms of tyre life? Because the guys who pit closest to lap 10 will have the freshest tyres for the restart. So two different strategies playing out. Some guys buying some track position, but spending tyre life to get it.
How cool is this as well? We are running 53-second lap times. Low 53s. The quickest in NASCAR in the Cup Series was a 49-second lap time, and our cars aren't even designed for ovals. Brilliant stuff by the Supercars. As a late decision there by Golding and Macaulay Jones to enter the pits could pay dividends if they nail some fresh rubber. Stanaway, Kostecki, Heimgartner and Thomas Randall will all need to come in this lap, otherwise they will receive a penalty.
Ditto that Zane Goddard as well, who dives in. So everybody has read the new sets of regulations for the week. Everybody pitting inside the 10 laps that they need to do.
Well, we think they have. Let's wait until they pit. we think they've read them.
Very good point. Let's hope the race leaders have read them. We're about to find out. Now they're going to pull hard left and find their way into the pits at the end of turn 3. And fighting to just down the lead lap ahead of them as well is Tony D'Alberto, who's already had his pit stop. Dab at the brakes, just letting him know that they're coming in. Don't want to get caught up in an accident at pit entry. We saw that last week. Need to make sure you do not spin down pit lane, and Kostecki taking no chances this week. Got pinged last week.
Very, very smart.
I'm really looking forward to seeing where the restart is going to play out later in this race and how much track position is going to be lost here. Now, we don't know exactly when that BP Ultimate Safety Car is going to happen. All we know is it's going to be in the back part of this race.
That was good stuff by Kostecki. There's a difference between mirror driving, which is for the mentally weak drivers, and also there's a difference between being aware in your mirrors and still being quick, which is what I've noticed Shane Van Gisbergen does very well normally in supercars, and I've watched him on the sim too. He does a terrific job of that. Where will they appear on the exit? I think Mostert and Waters have nabbed the lead. It will be awfully close into turn 1.
The rejoin happens at the inside of turn 1 as well, which is pretty different to a lot of speedways. It's close. Mostert with a ton of momentum, trying to use that undercut. And he'll run side by side with Kostecki, just about take this race lead away. He and Mostert and Waters working together in that mid part of the race. And again, Waters tapping the back of Mostert's car to push him to the race lead. New leader is Chaz Mostert. Got there using the undercut, and Justin Rougier goes with him. So Rougier with a huge gain from that early pit stop.
All we do is mention Mostert and Waters' incident at Bathurst, but right there is a bit of help that Mostert will buy Cam Waters a beer for when we can head out to the pub one more time. Good stuff from Cameron Waters, pushing his former teammate to P1 for the moment.
So the net result out of all that is Mostert, new leader, Waters now to the inside. Not working the back bumper this time as he looks for the race lead. And Kostecki losing 1 or 2 spots as a result.
Looks like a safety car.
As now we have gone BP Ultimate Safety Car. And there it is. So that gorgeous BP Ultimate Safety Car will pace the field. Josh Muggleton, former series competitor at the wheel. And a good chance potentially to talk to Greg Murphy before we go back to green flag conditions. Greg Murphy, how's it going over there in New Zealand in the Jacks Ridge car at the moment?
It's going all right, mate. I've managed to stay out of trouble so far. Me and Matt Grabham have been running around the back of the field, but haven't got a scratch on it. I managed to stop, didn't crash going into the pit lane, so all good.
You've gone from 21st to 13th, Murph. What's the plan for the restart here, which is coming up very soon?
I haven't actually thought about it, Chad. I want to try and stay with the pack this time. I was a bit lethargic there at the beginning of the first stint, so hopefully I can just stay with this pack and we don't get into too much trouble. It'd be nice to finish the race with a nice clean Jacks Ridge livery, but we'll wait and see, mate. I think we must be about to go, are we?
All right. Thanks, Murph. Good job, buddy. Looking forward to the Repco Battle of Jacks Ridge in November 13 to 14. If you're over in New Zealand, go and check that out. Reigning champion of that rally is Shane van Gisbergen. Yes, you heard correctly. Looking forward to seeing Hayden Patton compete there this year, former World Rally Championship driver. And we are going to a restart. Grandstand finish coming up from Pocono. Chaz Mostert, Cam Waters, Justin Rougier. Championship leader Richie Stanaway, Brody Kostecki in top 5. Scott Pye having his best run in the E-Series. Golding, Randall, Tyler Everingham, night 1, and he's inside the top 10. Andre Heimgartner wrapping up your top 10, and great restart from Chaz Mostert. He and Cam Waters pulling a mini gap over Rougier, who just missed the restart slightly. And remember, fresher tyres for the guys who pitted on lap 10, which includes the man we're riding on board with, Richie Stanaway, and also Brody Kostecki in 5th.
Look how difficult it is to pass as Brody Kostecki went for a move on Justin Rougier at turn 1. The tunnel turn, another overtaking spot here. Oh, this is Richie Stanaway, excuse me. That was a proper Murray Walker moment, that, as we head into the exit of turn 2. Now, turn 3 here, it's not necessarily the best overtaking spot, but you can set it up into 1, and smart by Stanaway avoids the dirty air and ends up pushing towards the top. So now we can get a good run on the exit.
Let's enjoy these green flag laps. Sure, sounds of the game. You're riding aboard with Richie Stanaway. This is awesome. Love that angle. I watched just about all of the Daytona race the other night in NASCAR, and I was getting some mad NASCAR vibes riding around on the roof late in that race as the bump drafting goes on, and Stanaway now works his way to the bottom of the racetrack, and he picks up Rougier for second. Mostert doing a nice job leading at the moment as Ojeda and Randall play some games further back in the pack, and the leaders, a 6-car breakaway.
Perfect for them. 6-car breakaway if they keep it clean. They're all 6 in contention for the win. Remember last week we had about 22 of the 22 drivers in contention for the win at one stage. All jostling for position. You've got to get your moves done now. Difficult to pass here at Pocono, we found in the opening 15 laps. Now that the top is rubbered in, will the outside line work towards the end of the race?
Golding and Everingham trying to catch the back of these 6 cars as they run 2 by 2. Oh, Mostert with a slide. There was a little bit of a rub there for a moment. Still plenty of laps to go. 8 to go this time by. Cool to see Scott Pye running in the front of this pack. Chance at some mini redemption for him tonight off the back of a tough race meeting last Wednesday, I should say. They're hooked up 2 by 2.
8-car train, by the way. Tyler Everingham, who replaces Matt Charter for this round, and the Shannon's Mustang is also in the pack, along with James Golding. For Scott Pye, his best result in the E-Series, a P7 in All-Stars. This will be a thrilling result if you can claim a top 5.
Last Wednesday, we had the Shannon's car and the DeWalt car in the lead pack late in the race, but they were both a lap down. Tonight, they're fighting for the race win.
Oh, no, look at... Oh, sorry, Chad. I was just looking at Chaz Mostert, who rejoined the top and almost took himself out of contention. He wasn't clear. That's where a spotter is critical. They tell you how many car lengths the driver is behind. Who is behind? Is it a buddy? Is it a rival? Who's alongside you? Are you 3 wide? So much information to relay. It's like having a rally co-driver.
Yeah, letting him know where the run is coming from, which high line or low line has the momentum. And Scott Pye was in the back working with Chaz Mostert. Now Brody Kostecki goes to the top to work with Richie Stanaway. They've got the freshest tyres in this lead pack.
Well, what a cracking shot.
This is cool, isn't it? We love the Cash Converter Supercars E-Series, and the ovals always turn on the excitement. Rougier to the bottom, picks off Chaz Mostert. So Mostert, who was first to pit, now feeling the effects as he gets shuffled to the back of this pack. Tyler Everingham in there in the Shannon's car as well.
It'll be great to see Brody Kostecki finally nab an E-Series victory that he's worked oh so hard for. He's always fell short. Plenty of laps to go, though. And who will survive this pack? Everybody down to P10. Jaden Ojeda in the Swift X for Swift X Racing is in this lead pack now. 1 second separate your top 10. That 6-car breakaway is no more.
Andre Heimgartner in there as well. Stanaway is committed to the top, isn't he? Loves working the top of turn 1. Remember, Ojeda in that blue Swift X car has a 5-second post-race penalty hanging over him. Damage to the back of Tyler Everingham's car.
That's how you go about 400 kilometers an hour without some downforce.
Not sure it's going to work for him in the middle of those corners as he and Heimgartner rub. Ojeda has to get to the bottom to avoid him. 5 to go next time by. There is the juice. Jaden Ojeda working away. Proud New South Welshman from Penrith in Sydney's West. James Courtney country. 5 to go. Waters trying to get down and cover Brody Kostecki. Stanaway has been leading these last couple of laps and is leading very strongly at the moment.
So Stanaway an E-Series victory last week. Cam Waters a reverse grid victory in All-Stars. Same with Mostert. For Pye, never finished in the top 6. Everybody scuttling for position. Look at Stanaway almost taking to the apron just to break the draft. He's getting aggressive, the Kiwi.
So the games are starting to begin. Just like a NASCAR race, the closer you get to the checkered flag, the more the intensity starts to creep up. The more being in that second or third spot coming to the white flag starts to pay off. Stanaway doing a great job at the moment. Kostecki needs to get out of this little pack. And for the first time, Stanaway, dare I say it, has a breakaway lead. Rougier hanging on to second. Scott Pye desperately trying to shove the back of Brody Kostecki down towards turn 1. 4 to go.
I don't think Stanaway is going to maintain that 7/10 gap. No slipstream, you're down 10 kilometers an hour on the straights. 6/10 the gap now. He's good through the corners because they're running double file. Brody Kostecki needs to get to the front of the train if he's going to have any chance of victory. Same for Cameron Waters, but they can't get rid of Justin Rougier in the Cash Converters Mustang.
Rougier has got his heels dug into that spot. Kostecki desperately trying to get to second. Needs some buddies down low. Heimgartner running the low line.
That was at 300 kilometers an hour almost, by the way. On the exit, was that the Shannon's car?
Yeah, that was Everingham. Off the right side of Jaden Ojeda, just hangs in there.
It's right, he's going to be like a land speed car here, just rocketing back up without a rear wing.
The games continue down the front straight. Rougier hanging on to second. The Pioneer DJ car, that's James Golding. Working with the Boost Mobile colours at Erebus.
Look at Richie Stanaway. 2 in a row, 2 on the trot. Like you never left supercars in a sense.
It's amazing, isn't it? He's so good at iRacing. Doesn't matter if it's road course or oval. I'm surprised that Brody just cannot seem to get some clear air at the front of this pack to try and chase down Stanaway. Rougier now is the guy closing that gap 0.4 of a second. It was out to 0.7 a few laps ago. 2 to go this time by. Can they reel in the quick Kiwi leading the field?
What a result this will be for Justin Rougier as well. Stanaway playing games again on the straight. Long, long straight, the same length as the mountain straight. Doesn't seem long when I put it in those terms, considering Conrod is longer, but you can scream up to speeds of 300 kilometers an hour through here. Right on board with Brody Kostecki.
0.3 of a second now the lead. Stanaway to Rougier. They're catching the Kiwi. That's the view underneath the back of Scott Pye's car. As now the Boost Mobile entry of Brody Kostecki works the bottom at turn 2. And they have caught Stanaway. That gap that he'd worked so hard to maintain and to build on has just about evaporated. Rougier's on his bumper. He's brought Cam Waters with him. And it might be a 3-car fight for this last lap. Waters third last week in this championship fight.
Rougier in with a good shot. But Cameron Waters in with a better shot if you can get rid of Rougier here. He's trying to work with him to catch Stanaway. Can they do it?
Last lap. Rougier goes to the bottom. Stanaway commits to the top. Can Rougier slide up the racetrack and take the lead? Got him. He clears him. And Stanaway has to look to the bottom. Change for the lead on the last lap, and the Cash Converters car is there. Now Brody Kostecki. As Rougier goes flying back, and Kostecki comes from 4th all the way to the lead. Side by side with Stanaway, not quite. Rougier got so far out on the back straight that he lost all that momentum. Last corner, Stanaway, Kostecki, Waters in there as well.
Who's Waters going to help here on the exit?
Who does he pick? They rub doors. Great racing out of turn 3. Stanaway with his nose in front. Can Waters lurch to the inside? Here comes Cam Waters. No! Stanaway gets it. Richie Stanaway tames the tricky triangle. 2 from 2 for the Kiwi by 1/100th of a second. 3 wide at the stripe. Stanaway, Kostecki, Waters the top 3. Waters third. Back-to-back race meetings for him. And Justin Rougier did a great job running with the leaders. Scott Pye picks up one of his best results in the E-Series. And that is your photo finish right there.
Snap, snap.
Cash Converters replay telling the story. And well done to Richie Stanaway, who backs up his race win last week.
Do you think he's enjoying himself right there with some burnouts?
That was cool. Team Tamaki Makoto Auckland getting the job done tonight. And the New Zealander will extend that championship lead. Have a look at that, 47 thousandths of a second. Cover first from third. Stanaway, Kostecki, Waters. Rougier fourth, Scott Pye fifth. Chaz Mostert threw some strategy at that one, but couldn't quite stay there late on. Golding, Ojeda with a 5-second penalty. That is going to kill his luck. He'll drop down onto this page somewhere. How about Murph? And
impressive.
Who's the other Greg Murphy on iRacing is what I want to know. He sits 14th at the end of that one. Tyler Everingham, 12th. Matt Payne, great recovery. Second in the points, remember, coming into this one. He was last at one point, got back up to 11th. And a few guys dropping off the lead lap. Wow, that was cool. Bosch race highlights of what was a really clean race. We had some trouble in the early part further back in the pack, but the leaders, they raced each other hard and fair.
Is this Bosch race highlights package going to run for about 20 minutes? The whole race was exciting, yeah.
That was
Why
cool.
not? Cracking, yeah, go on.
Early part of that race was Stanaway and Kostecki building that race lead together. Further back, there was Matt McLean caught up with Matt Payne and also Todd Hazelwood and Will Davison. Here's the other angle of that one. Todd Hazelwood getting absolutely whacked from the back in there. So pit stops happened on lap 10 for the leaders. And I think maybe pitting later was the better option, just having the fresh tyre life potentially paying off. Hard to say. Cam Waters, who pitted early, finished only 47th of a second off the race win in the end. But man, that was just an awesome race. Didn't see this one. Will Davison going for a bit of a ride off the bumper of Tom Randall. And then late in the race, the pushing and shoving, Jonathan, really began.
Certainly did. Brody Kostecki was everywhere here. Who did he help? Who didn't he help? Helped 2 drivers here in one corner. Waters on the exit as well. Kostecki was out for his own, though, in the finish here. Waters, we didn't know who he was going to help at the finish line. He went for his own. Everybody out there for themselves. What a race. 10 thousandths of a second between your leaders.
That was really cool. Congratulations, Richie Stanaway. Neil, we thoroughly enjoyed that one. 100th of a second.
Absolutely outstanding. That last couple of laps was really good to watch. Cash Converters Supercars E-Series turning on a great show for us this evening, and the All-Stars put together an awesome drive. So 1/100th of a second in the final analysis, and some really good quality clean driving there as well. There was a pile of opportunity, probably across 3 or 4 drivers there in the last couple of laps to elbow somebody into a concrete wall. So very pleased to be able to say once again for the second week in a row, congratulations to Richie Stanaway, who came home by this much. And we're going to have a chat to Brody as well. First of all, to you, Rich, nice work, excellent performance. You're going to have to be pleased with that 2 from 2.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. That was pretty intense. I nearly got away there with a few laps to go, but then, yeah, the guys behind stopped fighting a bit and then they caught back up. But, yeah, I was sort of, I was having to look as far as I could on my left monitor crossing the line there to see if it was enough to get the win. But, yeah, it was actually happened to be a really good car track combination this week for the racing. It was really good. Had a lot of fun.
How much time have you spent perfecting the craft at places like Pocono, Rich?
Yeah, I did a few laps. Obviously enough to just, you know, get a feel for it. And yeah, I had a really good time. It was good fun.
Congratulations. And Brody, nice work tonight. Just said a few moments ago, I'm not sure whether you heard it, but great clean racing. And I'm sure some of that oval track knowledge that you've got came into some use for you there.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. There was plenty of opportunities for everyone to just fence each other, and it was a good clean race all the way to the finish. So come up close just behind Richie there, but it was yeah, lots of fun, and just got shuffled with about 5 laps to go, and Richie was able to get away, and unfortunately it was just a bit too late to the end. But yeah, it was great fun.
I can't believe how much ground you made in the last lap and a half, Bro, because I thought early on you were in pretty good shape, and then with a couple of laps to go, I didn't think you'd get there. How did you get all that margin back?
I just had to get a bit of clean air, and you know, Richie was punching away good lap times at the front there, and you know, once the top sort of 3 or 4, you know, worked out that, you know, to be able to win, we had to sort of work together a little bit. It kind of just the seas kind of parted for me, but yeah, it was cool to see Richie get his second one in a row, and also 1-2 for Boost as well, which is pretty cool.
Very cool. You guys can hear each other. Do you want to say congratulations or slag each other? Either way, we don't mind.
I just want to say thanks for not fencing me in the last corner, because yeah, it was pretty clean racing. It would have been easy to you know, on the ovals, if you push hard on the entry, it's pretty easy to push someone wide and take the position. So yeah, it was good clean racing.
Well, boys, congratulations. Beautiful work tonight. We really thoroughly enjoyed those last couple of laps. Congratulations, Rich. More points and another victory. Look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Neil.
Don't forget, we want to hear from you as well and work out our Repco top performer. Jump onto Facebook and let us know what you think. There were lots of really cool drives this evening, so shout out and let us know. That's it. We're done for another week. When we come back next week, we're racing at the Speedway again at Daytona, off to Florida in the sunshine. And again, one of my favourite road racing courses. We're off to Road America. Looking forward to that. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's been lots of fun. Catch you in 7 days. Bye for now.